All right, so how exactly can we have pretty and nice looking clean URLs? If you've been doing PHP for some time, you notice that your URLs look something like this. So you have the server name, you have the file name, profile.php, then you have a query string, the question mark, and then the query string, which contains the variables that you need to access a particular page's information. So we could convert this into something nicer like this. So instead of user equals John, age equals 21, we just have profile / without even the PHP. We have John, then we have 21. So this looks much cleaner and much nicer. So how do we go about doing this? We can't do this with PHP alone. So we have to convert how the server interprets URLs using the HTACCESS file. So in order to do this, let's create a new file here. I already have some code and then I'll just paste it there. I won't go into detail on how this actually works, but all you have to know is that it redirects every single request to the index.php page. So every request goes through the index.php. So I already have the index.php created here. So it has this text, this is the index page, and that's it. So let me try and run this right now. Let me run that. Make sure Apache is running on your system, and then let's change this to localhost, and then we get this is the index page, okay, as expected. But if somehow I remove the .index and then it will say object not found, or I type something else here, it will say the same thing. So to avoid that, let's save our htaccess file in that same folder. So copy this information and paste it in your file. Let me enlarge it a bit so you can see it clearly. So let's do a save as. Now to save this, make sure you are on all file types, and then you type dot, no name required, just .htaccess, one word like that, and save. Okay, so once we've saved our htaccess file, now looky what happens. If I refresh the page, obviously I get let me remove the .php, I still get the index page, okay? But the surprising thing is, no matter what I type here, I still get the index page. All right, so I can type anything here, dog, I still get the index page. So as I said, everything is redirected to the index page. So how can this possibly be useful? So let's check it out. So what we could do is, let me write something like profile and John and 21, okay, like we had in the example. I still get the index file. So how do I get these parameters here, the profile, the John, and the 21, to be useful? So what I actually do now in the index file, because everything now is going through this file, let me open my PHP tags. So now let's check out what's in the server. Okay. I think I had typed something similar here. Let me copy that to save time. Let me remove the comments. So I'll add the pre-tag so it looks a bit nicer. So I want to see what's in the server. This server is a variable created by PHP. It's a global variable. So if I refresh there, I see what's contained in server. A lot of cool stuff. But what we are particularly interested in is part where it says profile John 21. So you can find this in the query string right there. So let me collect this part of the server file. Let me do that. And particularly, let me just paste that query string at the end like that. So we're going to access server query string. So let's see what we have here, just that part. So like you have seen, this is the index page, but then we have profile, John, and 21. So the thing that's delimiting these variables is the slash. So we can do something neat here by saying URL. Let's assign these variables to URL. So let's get whatever is in the query string at this point here, okay, and explode it. So explode is a PHP function that creates an array using a specific value. So as you can see here, the string delimiter is the slash, because it's the one that delimitates the strings where we want the array to cut the values. The string is the actual server string, so that's the one there. So let's see what now this variable URL contains after this explode operation. Syntax error on line 6. Let's see, line 6. What are we missing? Explode. Oh, we need a comma there. Sorry about that. So now you can see that we have in location 1, we have profile, we have John, and we have 21. So we can do some neat stuff with this information now. So to give us different pages depending on the information at the top. So to start with, obviously the profile will be the page that we want to view. So let's create multiple pages to start with. So I'll just copy this text from here and create a new page. Paste this. I want here to say something like profile. Sorry, you can see that profile and h1, closing h1. So let me save this as the profile.php. Okay, so we have that. Let me copy that. Let's create a new file, paste. This one will be posts. Okay, save as posts.php. And then I can have, oh, sorry, posts. Then I can have another one, which is we have profile, we have posts. We need one that's the default home page, so we'll just call it origin. Or in here we'll just say home, obviously home, but we'll save it as origin.php so it doesn't conflict with the others, and save. So we have the origin, which is the home, we have the posts, we have profile. So these are different pages. So now in the index page, we don't need this line anymore on the top there, because everything goes through the index page anyway. So now what we do is we require a file at the end here. Let's require a file. Let's say require once, so it's only required once. So what require once does, actually, it gets a file, a specific file that you specify in here. So here I'm going to specify a file from the URL. Now that file is on location 0, as we have seen, because we want this profile. That's the file that we want. But we need to add the .php at the end. But nonetheless, let me try it without doing that, and you see require once creates an error that it can't find the file. So let me add a .php at the end, like that. So we concatenate a PHP at the end, and when I refresh, we see profile. So we've gone to the profile page, and then I have these other variables I can use, like John and 21. But for now, we can ignore those. Let me just do this. Now let me create a small menu at the top of the index page, okay? Because the index page is always going to be accessed. So let's see what happens with this. So if I refresh, I have something here, okay, which I can use. Now if you notice, the links are linking to home without the PHP, profile and posts, okay? So if I click on home, what actually happens? You see it concatenates a home at the very end and profile and posts, which really does nothing because it doesn't change the original file here, which remains profile. So in order to do this, we have to type the entire string from there up to there. So I have to add this. For example, on home, I have to add it like that. It's tutorial web home, because that's where the that's how it's supposed to be. So let me refresh that and click. Home.php could not be found. Oh yeah, this is the problem that I have caused. So let me just rename this file that I named origin. Let me rename it to home, actually. Sorry about that. Let me rename it to home. So if I click there, it goes to home, profile, posts. Very nice. But unfortunately, if I have other things here like that, and I try to click on profile, it will still remain on home because it's only adding to the end. So to avoid this, we did add this one there. But there's a neat trick. Instead of having to add all this to your links, which will increase the amount of code, let's add a function instead. Let's call this function base. Okay, so it can bring us the base directory here. Okay, now if you notice in server, let me go back to server and have you see what's inside there. Let me do that for a moment. Let's go back to server, refresh.